चाइनीज गवर्नमेंट ने कांग्रेस को पैसा दिया जिसका FCRA
The party was getting funds from China.
It's an orchestrated international propaganda toolkit by China.
Hi everybody, welcome to Curious. In the realm of global geopolitics, China is actively shaping narratives in countries like India through a multifaceted approach involving technology, economic statecraft, and assertive diplomatic strategies. A recent report from US State Department's Global Engagement Center sheds light on the Communist Party of China's growing capability to influence global perceptions. The evolution of China's narrative influence coincides with its rise in the global order. The shift from Deng Xiaoping's policy of maintaining a low profile to Xi Jinping's approach emphasizing achievement has led to increased scrutiny of the CPC's disinformation toolkit. China's position as the world's second largest economy has allowed it to leverage its financial resources to shape narratives on territorial disputes, economic engagement, and human rights. Understanding the significance of news media in shaping public opinion, Beijing strategically utilizes it as a primary conduit for its influence campaign. Examples include paying newspaper in East Africa for favorable coverage and establishing partnership with media outlets in the countries like Honduras. Locally, through the aegis of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor framework, deepening of cooperation to combat disinformation is being pushed. The proposal envisages setting up a Sino-Pak mechanism to monitor reports from think tanks, media outlets, Confucius centers, and local Chinese companies. It must be noted that China's deepening economic engagement in Pakistan had created a pushback from places like Balochistan, resulting in attacks on Chinese nationals stationed in Pakistan. Thus, through the joint mechanism, China's aim was to manipulate the information environment in Pakistan to secure its interests. When traditional media avenues prove challenging, China turns to legal avenues with both state-owned and private companies filing lawsuits to suppress criticism. A Chinese company filed a lawsuit against a writer in Taiwan demanding a retraction of a piece or amending it with information that it provided. Telecom major Huawei filed a defamation suit against a researcher in France for merely claiming that the firm had ties to the party state. The US report notes that China Inc. uses those jurisdictions where there is a high probability of judges imposing stiff legal costs that drain out a defendant's financial resources. Additionally, the emergence of wolf warrior diplomacy style involves diplomats actively promoting China's interests abroad, sometimes exceeding their official mandates. It is being said that People's Liberation Army in a civilian clothing sent over to wage narrative wars. The report cites instances of Chinese diplomats pressuring institutions in Germany and warning Indian media against referring Taiwan as a separate country. China employs technology to bolster its narrative influence utilizing Chinese-made phones programmed to censor sensitive phrases like Taiwan independence, free Tibet, and democracy. Social media platforms become battlegrounds as Chinese diplomatic corps' presence increases, complemented by bot networks that amplify or suppress online content strategically. This tech-savvy approach extends to manipulating discussions during major events such as 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. To conclude, since its inception, the CPC has been consolidating its legitimacy at home and abroad. Initially, the party state manipulated the message through ideologically committed sympathizers. Since Xi's ascent to power, there has been a greater push within the CPC to make China's narrative the world story. To pursue this goal, China's toolkit weaponizes technology and its economic statecraft that are backed by legionaries masquerading as a diplomatic corps. In the aftermath of 2020 Galwan clashes, India systematically curbed instruments that China uses to expand its influence. Agreements signed between Indian universities and China on Confucius centers and educational cooperation between higher education institutions were reviewed. India banned several Chinese apps, chiefly among them a short video hosting service TikTok. The US report observes that China is constantly improving its techniques to manipulate the outcomes of election in democracies, with its stock in trade being disinformation about political parties, candidates, and creating rifts between the social groups. The key question is whether the content sharing agreement between Chinese news agencies and Indian media, flagged in the report, unintentionally make Indian media a platform for Chinese propaganda. Managing the China challenge requires a whole of a nation approach, and the media too will have to reassess their own priorities.
मेरा ये चैनल सब्सक्राइब करें और मेरे हर अपडेट आपको मिले इसके लिए बेल आइकन जरूर दबाइएगा।
If you have enjoyed this video and found the information valuable, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious. Thank you.